Welcome back to Derm Dialogues, which is an Instagram series that I just started. This is actually week 3. Hi, Dory. Hey, guys. So if you missed the other episodes, be sure to check them out. I have them saved under IGTV. Today, I'm really excited. We're talking about a very interesting topic to me, and that is clean makeup. I already saw a flurry of questions that you guys sent in, so I want to make sure, hey guys, so good to see you. I want to make sure that we have time to address as many of those as possible. This can be a really complicated topic, and I want to try to make it as simple as possible. I'm going to be welcoming Katie Denno. She's joining from Credo Beauty's channel this morning, and she is a celebrity makeup artist who actually was at the forefront of the clean makeup movement pretty much before it was trendy, before people were talking about it. They're going to be joining us soon. Good morning, good morning. So I'm going to invite her on. We're going to see the screen split, and we're going to just dive right in and have a conversation about clean makeup, about Katie, about her journey. I'll ask her to share some of her favorite products, but the most important part of this live is going to be getting to your questions. Okay, so she just requested to join. So let's... So if you guys have, I know a lot of you already sent questions. If you have questions as we're talking, please don't hesitate to, oh, hi. Good morning. Hey there. Good morning. Are you East Coast right now? You're New York, right? Okay, good.
New Jersey, yep.
New Jersey. I felt bad initially when I proposed this time. I was thinking, oh no, wait, is this is this too early for you? Okay, good. So at least you're not where the fires are. You're East Coast with me. I'm so happy to have you here today. So I just started to tell everybody about you. I'm sure a lot of people already know about you, but I'll just sing your praises again as a little intro. So guys, this beautiful redhead, I'm a little partial to redheads. My daughter's a redhead, just saying. This beautiful redhead who's on the screen with me is Katie Denno, and Katie Denno is joining from Credo Beauty, and she is a renowned celebrity makeup artist. You have seen faces that she has worked on, including Amanda Seyfried. I feel like ever since I saw Mean Girls and she felt her breasts to tell the weather, I just fell in love with her. Huge fan of hers, but you've worked on so many recognizable faces. And what I think is just extraordinary about your story is that you were genuinely attracted to the clean makeup and clean beauty movement just well before it was something that I feel like the lay press and before it was sort of accepted into the mainstream. And so, I want to talk that we have 30 minutes together. This is my plan for the 30 minutes. So we're going to talk a little bit about, I can't believe you are more fair than I am. I'm always the most fair person on this screen. You're actually more porcelain than I am. I love it.
Well, I also, every makeup artist has a lighting setup. So I've got a bright light blowing out most of my
I got a bright light too, okay? No,
I'm probably
your light's better than my light. No, you're stunning, but I love the porcelain skin. It means that you're also very protective when you're in the sun, which I love as well.
Yes.
So I want to spend the next 30 minutes. I want to talk to you. I want to learn. I want to, for people who don't know your journey and your story, I want them to get to know you a little bit. I want to talk to you a little bit about, makeup and being a makeup artist in the middle of this pandemic. And, I do want to ask you to share some of your favorite products with us. And I really want to get to the questions. So I put one of those little, Instagram has that feature where you can ask for questions beforehand, and I posted it this morning, and I couldn't believe how many we're not going to have time to answer all of them, but I want to try to get to as many as we possibly can. So let's dive right in. So Katie, tell me about your journey. What attracted you to clean, and were you already an established makeup artist when you sort of made that transition? Tell us all about that.
No, such a good question. Well, I was an established makeup artist in the sense that I'd been working for a couple of years, maybe two years, when I first stumbled upon the concept of clean beauty. So previously, I was a social worker in my past life. I was a social worker, and I worked in hospitals for a good portion of that time. And I worked with
Okay.
very closely with doctors who were working with patients who were immune compromised. And one of the things that I remember so vividly was a lot of medications were delivered via patches on the skin if the patient couldn't swallow a pill or take something intravenously.
It's called transdermal delivery. Exactly.
Exactly. And working in women's health, I was like, okay, so I know that from birth control patches. I remember seeing Nicorette ads, you know.
Right.
So all this stuff is going through our skin. So then I get into makeup, fast forward, you know, crazy happenstance, jump from one career to the next. And I'm in this world of makeup, and I'm at a fashion show, and I'm looking on the back of a very popular makeup, kind of like a pro makeup product that nobody else would use. But I'm looking at the back of it, and it says color number whatever, red, not for use around the eyes. Color number blue, not for use around lips. And I was like, but these are pro makeup artist products. Where are we supposed to use them? And why are they specifically called out for, I'm guessing, not safety, you know, the antithesis of safety around these very typically rimmed or whatever parts of our faces. So it's got me thinking. And I had a girlfriend at the time who was going through chemotherapy at a young age. And, you know, it was just like that convergence of things that led me to think, okay, I want to be better to my clients. At the time, I was mostly working with models doing fashion in New York. It was kind of right before my foray into working with celebrities. And a lot of them had allergies, you know, they didn't know what brought them on. A lot of them would sit in my makeup chair and scrutinize what was in front of them on my makeup table and say, I don't know what's in there, but other makeup artist stuff have, you know, broken me out or have given me a rash or made my eyes swell or whatever. Do you know what's in your products that might do that to me? And at the time I was like, I have no idea what's in any of this stuff. Even if I can pronounce what's on these ingredient lists, I don't know what they are. And there really wasn't, I mean, it was before the EWG, Environmental Working Group website. It was before really any of that. And there was one brand, and I will show you one of my faves from them later, but Elia. I remember walking into a beautiful store in New York City called ABC Carpet, and they have this amazing apothecary section.
They have the most amazing vegan restaurant, by the way.
Oh, totally.
Oh, delicious. Yeah. We have to meet there for lunch one time.
I look forward to that. Yeah, that's actually historically been one of the places that I've met a lot of the green beauty brand founders. So it makes perfect sense. So I remember being in there just looking around, and I saw this display of, I forget if it was 5 or 7 lipsticks from Elia, and I was like, clean beauty, what? Or maybe at the time it was actually called green beauty. And, you know, rebranding of everything always. And I thought, oh, this is really great. And I went home, I remember cleaning up the display, and then, because people had been using it, and buying everything and going home and searching out the founder online and writing to her and saying, like, anything I could ever do for you, please let me know. And then I systematically went through all of the, you know, there weren't that many brands, there were maybe 3 or 4 other brands, to look for the founders and reach out and make connections and learn what they could teach me. And little by little, so early on, people were not into it. Like, as far as models go, I mean, everybody wants the mainstream MAC, Christian Dior, you know, Givenchy. You want to see those products in front of you, even if you know that maybe there's something in there that's not agreeing with me. And as we've come to find out, you know, over the years, the chances of our overall load of toxins, you know, we have the air to breathe, the water that touches our skin, all these different things that might be adding to our overall toxic load. We don't know if these ingredients 100%, because there haven't been exhaustive studies, but, you know, if they might add to our overall toxic burden, why not do without? And so it's been a really fun journey over the past decade of working with brands to help them to really hone in on what the average person who wears makeup wants and needs, and what a makeup artist wants and needs. And now I feel like skincare, makeup, hair care, body care, like, why would you choose anything else?
Yeah, just a few years ago, I actually worked with a lab, and I tested some makeup samples, makeup that you would typically use around the eye, around the lips, and those are those are what we call mucous membranes, meaning, with the eyes, the lip area, the absorption on those areas is actually much higher than the absorption on, say, like your elbow, your heel. And I did speak to the lab, and they found concerning levels of mercury, lead, cadmium, heavy metals. I think that was the first time that I sort of realized, wait a second, like the eyelid skin is incredibly thin.
Right.
The lip mucosa is incredibly permeable. And yet, what are these things and how often do I put on lip products? I have dry lips throughout think about how many times, especially people who are using makeup, like there's certain products that they use every single day. There's certain products that they use multiple times a day. So, I think this is, I love that you took an interest in this so early, and I'm sure it was a little bit challenging. So question for you, because I think you probably did meet with a little skepticism, especially at first, but when you initially when we're getting ready for red carpet events. So when I call them patients, you call them clients. When I see patients who are getting ready for red carpet events, they're very results driven. They're very performance driven. And I'm assuming that you have that same experience when they're sitting in your chair. When you're thinking about a red carpet event, they're thinking, I need my makeup, my lipstick, my blush to persist through lots of flashes, lots of heat, kisses, so I can imagine that, because day to day, I think that people would be more receptive to saying, okay, let me switch over to more clean products. But when they're sitting in the chair and you're getting ready for a red carpet event, have you met with any, reluctance where your clients are saying, okay, wait, no, for tonight, I really want to go with the tried and true traditional makeup products that I know are going to stay put?
Right. It's the perfect question, because everybody wants to know this. And so I have to say, so 10 years ago, when I first started pushing these products, and I would test them out on myself, wear them, all weekend long to see what smudged, what stayed put, what didn't. And then I would tinker with them. Okay, if I add a little bit of this powder to this, I get a little bit longer wear. If I add a little bit of, mix in a little bit of this to this liquid foundation, I can get a little bit more even coverage, those kinds of things. So early on, I was constantly putting green beauty products into mainstream or unmarked containers and bringing them to jobs so that people were none the wiser. And I would, employ all of these little tips and tricks that I used on myself to make sure that they would last longer. And and then at some point I decided, I'm not doing this anymore. I'm bringing things in the containers in which they are packaged, and I'm going to begin talking more about
I'm
this.
coming out of the clean closet.
Totally. That's so funny. Yeah, exactly. I'm
going to own this. Like, I'm doing this for a reason, and I'm not going to hide behind it. And
totally.
Yeah.
So there's been a mixture. There was definitely been skepticism especially in the beginning. So even as recently as, let's say, 4 years ago, there were still people who were saying, okay, you used something on me 5 years ago that didn't last. I'm scared of what you have in your bag now. And so it's been, because brands have gotten better, labs have put more time and effort into the R&D, research and development. It's become, the products are so much better now. So yes, I very much remember a number of red carpets where I would, I did up Julianne Moore, sent her along the way, and then saw the pictures later, and I was like, I put hot pink lips on her. Where are they?
Where'd it go?
Totally.
Yes. I think the technologies are evolving. The cosmetic chemists who are really fluent in clean ingredients are becoming more numerous and more educated. And more sophisticated. So and the brands that are developing these products, are really taking advantage. And I think that the more that the demand is there, and obviously the demand for clean has been skyrocketing. The more that the demand is there, the more that the supply will sort of meet them, so I think that the more that we sort of vote with our dollars and start, buying cleaner products, then I think it's going to become a little bit more accessible, a little bit more sophisticated. But I do agree, there's still room for improvement, but I think there are already existing some products that are wonderful. And I think it's a matter of sort of, finding the right ones. Question for you, I think this is just something that has come up in my office a lot, but how do you think that the pandemic has impacted people's relationship with makeup? Because a lot of people are staying home more, a lot of people are wearing masks more. it's a little bit of a different world right now, and that's not changing anytime soon. So what are you seeing? What are you experiencing, and what do you predict?
Well, a couple different things. I think that people's interest in what they're putting on their bodies has gone through the roof. I've never received more calls, texts, direct messages, calls to my agency, requesting one-on-one consults, people just saying, I cannot believe I never thought about this before. We have more time at home. There's, of course, more information out there. And I think sitting in front of Zoom calls all day long for so many people, that's how they're, still a member of the workforce, and looking at themselves and watching how many times they're applying that lip balm or lipstick, or, how they're putting that concealer, close to all of that stuff. It's like a much more intimate relationship than the 5 minutes so many of us allot for ourselves in the morning, of a quick face, whatever, in the mirror in the bathroom, and then you run out the door and you don't really think about it. And people are watching how their products wear throughout the day more intently as well, in their Zoom camera or at home in their mirror. And people have more time at home with their children. And so they're hugging and kissing on their little ones and watching the transfer of that product and thinking more about, I don't want to be, putting anything on you that I wouldn't want in your bloodstream. So there's been a lot more interest. It's been also, people are talking about, will face makeup and lipstick, the longevity of wear and the transfer proof, improve within green beauty? I always say, before there was mainstream waterproof makeup, people thought there's never going to be a day when you can wear your mascara and your, face makeup into the pool. But now, of course, there is. Not in clean beauty yet, but that will come for sure when the interest is there, when the consumer demand is there. So that's what's so exciting to me. Yes, we're in a pretty heinous time across the world, but there will be some new, advancements, not just in art and music and, political change, but there will be amazing advancements in the things that we use every day.
Agreed. I'm seeing just some really interesting comments. Somebody said, it's given me more time to research and learn. And I think it has been sort of a time of reflection and research for a lot of people, where we're just sort of stopping, pausing, and thinking through habits that used to be sort of mundane and just instinctive. And now it's like, wait a second, what am I doing? And how is this impacting my health? And somebody else mentioned like the persistence of makeup and lasting underneath the masks with the transfer. There's a lot of issues now and things. There are new challenges coming up when it comes to makeup. So when it comes, I know you got back to work last week. Was that your first time working on on a set again for a while? So beautiful set. That was magnificent. How are you cleaning? Are you cleaning your palettes differently? Are you cleaning your brushes differently now that and just any tips that you can give to people who, as far as keeping our own makeup more hygienic, or if I have patients now who, are starting to go to weddings, they're more socially distanced, they're much more careful, smaller numbers in general, but people are asking me, like, is it safe, to have a makeup artist come and work on my face? And so what do you think? What are some tips that people should look for when it comes to, if a makeup artist does come and work on them for an event, what are things that they should be expecting to see to make sure that those products, those instruments are being carefully cleaned?
Absolutely. Yeah. I think for makeup artists across the board, our biggest fear is contaminating a client. Number one fear. So I come from a hospital background, serious, sterilization training. So for me, from day one working in makeup, I've thought of my products as sterilized tools, and in the hospital, and double dipping is not a thing. Working directly from a lips, or swiping a lipstick on, not a thing, unless of course I'm working with somebody that I work with on an ongoing basis, and I put in a bag, that I label their name.
They have their own bag.
Absolutely. But so some of the things that makeup artists are doing now, a lot of folks are buying sterilized, like UV sterilization boxes. So after every job, you put, after you've washed your brushes, an extra layer of certainty of cleanliness, you put them in there. Scraping from palette, or scraping from the product itself onto a palette should be run of the mill for all makeup artists anyway. But now for sure, I mean, no one should be working from the palette itself. However, spraying with alcohol on powder palettes is a thing that we've all done forever. So that for me feels absolutely safe. We know that the virus is killed by both washing of the hands and washing of the brushes, as well as by, I've been saying 70% alcohol, but the other day someone said, no, it's 60%. 60, 70?
I'm 70 or above.
Okay.
Yeah.
90, please. Yeah, as clean as possible across the board. So all of that stuff. In addition, no one should be in each other's faces that intimately without wearing a mask. That day I went back to work. We were outside, but regardless, I wore 2 masks, and for a portion of the time I wore a face shield, but I also wore goggles so that anything floating around, it's about keeping ourselves safe, but of course also our model or actress can't be protected. So it's about making sure that they are number one protected, so, over anything else. So if somebody's coming to your house to get you ready for a wedding, their kit should appear quite immaculate. You should be able to ask in advance, from whether it's a service or reach out to them directly and ask. You could ask for, this could be annoying, and makeup artists could hate me for this, but ask for photographs. If you're wary, ask for photographs of their kit, ask them to list out what precautions they take. When they come to the door, they should be wearing a mask. Wearing gloves isn't a bad idea, or a hand sanitizer, throughout we're not rubbing our faces or, in any way contaminating our hands, but hand sanitizer a couple times throughout isn't a bad idea.
Yeah. Yeah.
Lots of precautions.
So that was so helpful. So first of all, please do recommend a couple of your favorite products. And then guys, I see a lot of questions coming in that are great questions. I also got a bunch of questions that were sent before, so I want to make sure we get to those. So do you have 3 of your favorite products that you could share with us today?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, great.
I'll come in close to my lashes. So Ilia, I've loved this line for, as I told you, they were one of my first. And they make a fabulous mascara. So this is pretty much every photo that anybody says, oh, I love that. What mascara are you wearing, or did you put on your client? Ilia. It's really lengthening. It's really jet black. Mascara has been a really tricky thing in the clean beauty space. It flakes, it runs, it doesn't stay put, you can't build. So when they got this formula down, I was like, okay.
So guys, I'll be listing these products underneath. I'll put this as a dedicated post, and I'll list this underneath. So don't worry if you're missing the exact name. So just a couple of notes when it comes to mascara that I think are worth noting is that number one, I think that there is this misconception that preservative-free is healthier and safer. And preservatives are actually very important when it comes to makeup and when it comes to skincare. In particular, when it comes to mascara, I have personally seen Pseudomonas infections, where Pseudomonas, a type of bacteria, will contaminate the water-based mascara, and it has caused corneal infections. It has caused infections around the eyes. So guys, I think that that's something, there's a lot of confusing points out there. Preservatives are a necessary evil. You do want to look for clean preservatives, and that, as you're coming from Credo today, they're very careful about making sure that the preservatives that are in their products are considered clean. So I just think that's important. Also, I believe that carbon black is a pigment that was often used for black mascaras, and that I believe is a carcinogen. And I think the Ilia, do they use charcoal? I think there's now other forms of ingredients that are being used to create. It's very challenging to create very powerful, strong, lasting pigments, and that's been a big problem when it comes to clean makeup. But I do think that if it's done correctly, and I believe that Ilia has nailed it. I've heard wonderful things. I can't wait to try their mascara. I'll be ordering all the things that you recommend today. But so that's a great one. Ooh, a question about a concealer. Do you, of one of your 3 products, happen to be a concealer?
Yes, of course it is.
Awesome. Okay, everybody needs a good concealer.
Concealer, mascara, and a good lip color. Those are my 3 always. So yes.
Amazing.
So there's a brand called Kosas, also on the shelves at Credo. And they've got a beautiful texture, beautiful range of colors. I'm sure they're, as with all brands, always constantly expanding the range of colors. So this works. This is number 3, works beautifully for me under the eyes. If I've got a breakout, I can conceal with this. Concealers have been a really difficult thing in clean beauty as well. I think it's a lot about the buildability, the layering of pigment, and being able to actually provide adequate concealing. So like the density of the pigment has been really hard in a base that's a texture that actually mimics skin. So I really like this line. Ilia also makes really good concealers. There's a couple lovely Saint Beauty, some really good ones on market right now.
Amazing.
And I always tell people, if you don't find your perfect whatever, come back in a year. The industry
the number, and everyone's becoming more inclusive with different ranges. I think it's very expensive for brands to come out with, you know, like tremendous SKUs and have cover every single skin type, but they're really working on it, and I think that's huge, and I love that. So go for the lip, because, you know, when, again, the lip is an area where I've seen lead, I've seen a lot of heavy metal contaminants in lip products, and people, you know, their lip absorbs a lot more than any other area. So what lip product do you recommend?
So I brought you one of my favorites. So this is Vapor Organic Beauty. Vapor has been on the scene as long as I have. It's founded by two women in Taos, New Mexico, who have like a solar panel or and a wind power, I believe. Like they're like walking the walk from start to finish, eco-friendly. They take such care in formulating, and they recently came out with a bunch of new products, and I love these. And they're quite sheer. They're kind of like that Your Lip but better. And there are so many bold, if bold is your thing, so many bold, fun lipsticks on the shelves at Credo. I mean, the options are kind of endless now. And when I first started, I was like, oh, I can't do red carpet lips, but now I can do every kind of lips.
Okay, wonderful. I'm scrolling through some of the questions because I want to make sure we get to some of those. I did see a question before about the 12 principles of green chemistry.
Oh, nice.
I can't believe how savvy the people who are watching these lives are. Guys, like I love the questions that you're sending. I love the fact that people even know the principles about green chemistry. So here we have a question on, let me see, I got a whole bunch of these. Can clean products still be made in a lab, or does it have to have natural ingredients? So I'll start, and then I'll let you sort of chime in as well. But I think that's a really, really important question. The question again was sort of the difference between clean and natural. I think that there is a very big misconception that natural is healthier. Natural is not always better. In fact, you know, poison ivy is natural, and you wouldn't want to rub that on your skin. So I do think that it's on a case-by-case basis. And I think that clean beauty really does acknowledge that and sort of looks at each individual ingredient. For example, a lot of the pigments that are included in the colorants that are included in makeup products are mineral based. And sometimes if you mine the minerals in a natural way and don't synthesize them in a laboratory setting, they actually have a higher risk for contamination. So I think that it's very, very important to sort of, I think at the beginning when people talked about green, you know, it was an emphasis on natural, organic. I eat organic whenever possible. I love natural foods. I don't believe that natural is always safer or healthier or better when it comes to the skin. I do think that when it comes to sort of the feedstock, I prefer something that was sustainably sourced than something that's from a petroleum derivative. But I think that this is an evolving, very complicated and nuanced area. And I think it's more important to focus less on the natural and more on sustainability, safety. There are other principles that are actually even more important. So Katie, I'll let you chime in while I look for the next question.
You just took every word right out of my mouth. That's exactly what I always talk about. And that's why I have felt so great about joining forces with Credo, because they have an amazing team who looks at all of the things that you just listed. And
Mia Davis, if you're listening, we love you.
Exactly, Mia. You know, like holistically looking at what we're putting on our skin is paramount to me. And it's not, you know, looking at each ingredient, of course, but also the ingredients and how they interact together. Sometimes that leads to something dangerous. And yeah, natural is not always better. Everyone has always said, and in the press have written about me, the organic makeup artist. Okay, you can call me that, but I have lots of things in my kit that are, I mean, I love a synthetic, anything. I know that, that I shouldn't say anything, but you know, using synthetics in cosmetics is, I think, the way that we're going to push forward and make even more incredible products. It's not about
Absolutely.
using just waxes and butters and you know, minerals and mica that we find in mine. It's about creating things lab so that there's consistency, so that we can get that longevity of wear. I'm looking forward to what's to
Yeah,
come.
I'll have to do another live with somebody who's an expert in green chemistry to talk all about that. I got a couple questions about mica and shimmer. So I'm sorry we're doing like rapid fire questions here, but I want to try to get as many in as we can in the next couple of minutes.
Okay.
So one question was, you know, is mica considered green and clean? And another question was about getting a sunscreen that has shimmer in it. So so when it comes to mica, guys, so mica, most mica is being sourced from India. And the problem with the way that it's being sourced is that it usually entails child labor. And these children are working instead of going to school. And we're talking about thousands and thousands of children who are in these mines in India getting mica. And the quality of the mica and the quantity of the mica is really superior in India, which is why that's the primary source for mica. It is a dangerous practice for these children, and they are clearly being underpaid, and it's obviously not ethical. So when it comes to mica, Credo is very, very careful about the type of mica that they allow in the products that they sell. So you want mica to be ethically sourced in a way that it is not using child labor. I think some people have suggested like, oh, just stop buying the mica from India, but that actually would be extremely detrimental to the financial ecosystem and structure of, you know, that entire community. And so we don't want to, you know, really sort of hurt the financial construct there either. You just want to be able to harvest sustainable and ethical mica. And so I love mica. Mica is what gives sort of that like beautiful shimmer to a lot of products, especially like the shimmering eyeshadow. If you've ever used an illuminating serum, that usually has mica. So anything that you like to think about or look for when it comes to mica while I'm looking for the next question?
Well, I think makes it so much easier for the consumer, because the average person doesn't know when you look at the back of a product from, you know, a drugstore brand, or you go to the mall and look at any of the makeup counter products. It's impossible. You're not expected to know or to be able to read and understand the ingredient list. And those who do, it's like a full-time job. It's taken me over a decade, and I still have to call my mentors and ask questions because the prefixes and the suffixes of these words change and mean a completely different thing. And so I think this is why, again, like I sound like a broken record, I am aligning myself with a destination, an online and in-person destination where people know that they can go and say, okay, you guys have done the footwork for me so that I don't have to question. Because chances are good, if you're not shopping in one of the clean beauty stores, or health food stores, you know, that you know are sourcing very ethically as well, you know, the places are not looking at what we're buying holistically and doing right by communities.
And I think transparency is the most important. I saw a bunch of comments where people were just using the word transparency. That's the most important thing when it comes to educating yourself, is actually knowing what's in your products. It's funny, I got a question, what clean brands of foundation are actually full coverage? And it happened to coincide with when Exa Beauty said hello to us. So I'm a huge fan of Exa Foundation. Do you want to speak to that a little bit, as far as like some people want a lighter foundation, some people want a heavier, and I think Exa is what you guys call buildable. So, so if you could talk about that, that would be great.
Absolutely. I have it on today. I have a lot of sun damage. So just by wearing hats, I think there's that bounce back from the cement, like in the beach, you get a lot of sun damage from that.
Reflection off of sand, cement, and water is tremendous. People who are on boats and they're wearing hats and sunscreen, they'll still get tremendous sun damage from the reflection.
And I certainly have. So I like, you know, periodically I like to cover it up. So I have probably 2 layers, and I'm not talking like the kind that you see on a lot of Instagram tutorial layers. I have like light, thin sheer layers that I put on with my fingers, and then use a sponge, makeup sponge, just to blend it out. But the Exa foundation is fabulous. So if you do want full coverage, that's your go-to. It's at 43 shades. The primer that goes with it's beautiful, really layerable, and really competes with the mainstream. I mean, every single person that has tried it has had good things to say. All the beauty editors won all the awards. Yeah, the formulation is great. So I would say go for that if you're looking for full coverage, and know that you can build it to to equal that of like the Estee Lauder Double Wear, like all of those ones that people have used as their tried and true for years. This is your clean version.
I literally could talk to you all day about this topic, and with all the questions coming in, I
It's
feel
gonna
like
go by.
we'll have to have you back. Guys, if we haven't answered your questions, please, I'm going to be posting this on my grid. Absolutely feel free to ask your questions below. Katie, you are more than welcome to weigh in and chime in if you'd like to, either from your channel, from Credo Beauty's channel. Guys, I love the engagement. I love the curiosity.
Yeah,
this is a
all.
journey. There's no judgment. You know, if you're not completely clean, like that's okay. You and you don't have to go clean in a day. You don't have to throw away all the products that you love.
Right.
You know, but I think if this is something that's important to you, if you're worried about, you know, carcinogens, if you're worried about hormone disruptors, if you're worried about fertility, breast cancer,
Anyone?
I mean, these are issues that I'm dealing with in my personal life, my family, my friends, my patients.
Who is
And, you know, as an epidemiologist, you know, it is really hard to definitively link, you know, one particular ingredient with these, you know, with these effects. But if we can be precautionary, you know, in Europe, they use the precautionary principle, and that's something we don't use here in the US. But if we can be a little bit more careful and decrease our exposure in any way, you know, if we can help one person not get that diagnosis, for me, it's worth everything. So anyway, guys, have a wonderful day. And Katie, thank you again. I'll definitely have to have you back. We'll do this again.
I look forward to it.
Okay.
Thanks for the
All right, guys.